Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
What are you currently building, and what are the behaviors that are actually helping you build this? And are you willing to look at the answer? Today, we're talking about something that's costing people time, money, confidence, and opportunities, and most don't even realize they're doing it. You are giving away your value. You're not doing it once, you're not doing it occasionally, but you're doing it repeatedly. And that's why I wrote this book, which is Stop Giving Away Your Value, Boundaries, Pricing, and the Business of Respect. And we're going to talk a little bit about the basis of why I wrote this book and what you can hope to take away from it if you purchase it. And of course, there's also a course that you can take as well. So let's dive into it and get into the conversation. So you have opportunities to create new business, and you look at the interaction you're having with the other party and you decide to throw something in for free. Or maybe you start off with giving something for free. And maybe you get down the road in a conversation about negotiation and the person says, well, it's more expensive than what I wanted. I wasn't expecting to pay this amount. I don't think it's going to work for me. And you immediately go to dropping your price or throwing in something else. This is not about confidence. It's about your behavior. It's about what these actions are saying, that if the word got out, anyone coming forward who had heard about this experience would try to use the same approach. So what you say, what you allow, what you agree to, and what you avoid really have meaning. I'm going to be reading directly again from my book, Stop Giving Away Your Value, Boundaries, Pricing, the Business of Respect, and tying it to the work we do in a course that we have as well. So let's look at the problem. Let's start here. You might think that giving away your value looks so dramatic, that there's something so obvious that it should be clear to you. But it typically shows up very quietly. It shows up from a number of small decisions that you made, which can include underpricing, over-explaining, over-delivering, and avoiding having direct conversations. Now, I don't know if you're like me, it's very difficult to have a direct conversation when it comes to money. It's just awkward. I found myself recently using a timer when I'm running some of my sessions, because if a person pays for a certain amount of time, then I should deliver a certain amount of time. But because I like most people that I work with, I'm inclined to just keep going. But I'm actually giving away my value. And so what I'm stating is that, okay, even though we have an understanding and an agreement that you're getting XYZ for an hour, we can keep going to an hour and 15, an hour and 30. So think of you doing this with every encounter that you have with a client. You would ultimately run out of time. And so what would end up happening? Your clients typically would lose respect for you, because whether they realize it or not, they can push the envelope and you're going to go along with it. And you might have resentment in yourself for the fact that you couldn't stick to your boundaries. Boundaries are difficult. It's very difficult to put a line in the sand, personally and or professionally, and say, okay, I have to draw the line here. This is what our agreement is. And when you've ever encountered someone doing that, you might be taken aback. You didn't expect it, but I guarantee at some point you respected the person because they had boundaries. So in this book, again, Stop Giving Away Your Value, I address all these things. Why is it so difficult? I want to start at the beginning about pricing. If you are new to your business, or you are coming out with some products and services that you haven't had before, or maybe you have products and services that have been around for a while, how do you actually price them? What I found in all the interviews that I've done, I think I've done over 10,000 interviews now, is that people typically will undervalue their service because there is an inherent fear. And the fear is that maybe I'm not worth it. People have imposter syndrome. I've had imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome. It is with us all the time. And I've shared this story before, but I want to share it again because it really was groundbreaking to me. I was taking a meditation program, how to get certified in meditation, and actually getting certified during the pandemic. And during this program, the person who was running it was having a number of speakers come in, and they were taking an hour of the session. And one of these people, I'd never heard of this person before. I went to her website because I liked the way she was speaking, and she was charging $25,000 for 1 hour. And my eyes flew open and I thought, what could she possibly be delivering for $25,000? And so I went back to the class and I was paying attention to what she was saying and I was looking at the way she was delivering things. And she started talking about her journey and how she realized that you get an opportunity to position yourself in the market. So she decided to position herself at the high end of the market. And all she needed was one client to prove that it worked. And she got one client. And then after she got the one client, she had the client write a testimonial. And then another client came, and then another client came. And before you knew it, she was making $600,000 a year. So to me, this is someone who I want to understand, what is that thought process like? And it comes down to structuring. If you've ever done any research on people who come from old money, they are not out there day and night killing themselves. Maybe the person who earned the money from the very beginning was doing that, but they have systems in place so that while they're sleeping, they are making money. Their money is making money for them. And so that's what I want us to think about today when we think about giving away our value. How can we come up with systems where we actually earn passive income when we're on vacation, when we're sleeping, when it's the weekend, when we're doing something else? So a lot of that has to do with how are we going to market? And if you are feeling like I have felt myself, you come out with a product or service and you want to test the marketplace and you want to see, how do people feel? How do they react about this product or service and the pricing? And so you may do what many of us do. We put it on social media and then we put it out there once and we don't get any feedback. Nobody signs up. Maybe we go to Eventbrite and we spend our time putting all the information in there and nobody signs up. So what's the first conclusion that we come to? Well, our program's no good. We're no good. Nobody wants this. But that's not actually the case. First of all, how are we going to market? It's a one and only. Well, if you think about it, how often do you see something once and make a commitment to doing something? If you think about buying a car, for example, you may do a lot of research before you buy the car. You may actually test drive the car before you drive it. You may look at consumer reports here in the United States. I don't know what they have outside of the US, but you may do some due diligence before you actually go ahead and purchase the car. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, purchasing a car and buying a course or buying a service might not be the same thing. Well, it depends. People who value their money are going to look at how they're spending it. So if you are someone who values the dollar and makes a commitment to earning as much on your money as you can, you're going to think seriously before you spend any money. So, how do we price our services? Well, the first thing we can do is we can look at what are our competitors doing, and then look at their reviews, and maybe even sign up for one of their courses to see what it is that they're doing. I'm talking about courses right now, but this could be really anything. It could be a product or service, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So look at what your competitors are doing, and then look at what is the willingness to pay. What is a potential client's willingness to pay? Now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, how am I going to know? Well, you could run a test. You could do an advertisement where you offer X, Y, and Z for this price, or you offer ABC for this price, and you see who comes forward. You might actually do some type of test where you include people you know and you ask them to take the course and rate it. Maybe do some type of bartering system where if they're willing to take the course and write an honest testimonial, that you'll recommend them based on the fact if you really do believe in what it is that they're offering. But the first thing that we typically do is we do something on our own and we price it at a really low price because we don't believe anyone's going to buy it. Now, I have done this and I do this, and I'll explain why. I have many clients who've been working with me for a long time, and they do a number of services with me. So people have so much money. People have a limited amount of disposable income that they're going to do something with. So when it comes to people that I know on a regular basis, I understand that and I appreciate that. If I'm coming to market with something completely new that is not just for people I know, people in my team, people in my circle, then I'm going to go to market in a very different way. For example, this book is 88 pages. You can see there's a lot of words. It's not like just a few words on the page. And I had to decide what is the price point that I'm going to come out with this book. So after doing some research, and by the way, this is not my first book. I think this is my 28th book. I decided on $26.99. $26.99. And then I decided to offer a signed copy of my book. And I'll show you where you can get that. And I picked the price point $59. So as a result, you may be thinking to yourself, well, $26.99 and $59, that sounds a lot. Well, guess what? This book, I think was on Saturday, became an Amazon #1 new release in global marketing. So that means people were buying the book. It's not me buying the book, it's people buying the book. And in addition to that, I have a few people who have now, it's only been available in signed copies because I had to wait to get my own copies, for people to purchase signed copies for $59. So what does that mean? That means that the willingness to pay is there. That had I picked a different price point, $14.99 or $19.99, maybe people would have looked at it and thought, well, it's probably not worth anything, because that's what we think to ourselves. If it's free, how much value is there? Now, when is a good time to offer something for free? Well, let's say you have a website. You can offer a free download. I do not offer any free downloads. What I offer that is free, which is actually very expensive to me, is 15 or 20 minutes of my time to talk about collaborations. Now, what do I mean by that's expensive? Well, my go-to-market rate as a coach, as someone offering private advisory, starts at $700 an hour. Now, for those of you out there who think that's a lot of money, it's actually not, because I have decades of experience. I have a master's, I have a doctorate, I'm going to Wharton. So I have a ton of experience and I know how to interact with people. I see something in people and I help to bring it out so that they can actually move forward with something that they've wanted to do, but there was something blocking them. So even with the hourly rate that I charge, that could have been a different rate. I could have said, you know what, I'm going to go to market with $200. And that's something I did do a number of years ago. And after I proved myself, not just to my clients, but also to myself, I decided to reposition myself in the market. Now, that doesn't mean I'm for everyone. And this isn't about me. This is about you. I want you to think about, how are you going to market? What does your pricing structure say about you? Now, here's something else outside of pricing. Over explaining. This is a big one where we get tripped up. And let's start at a personal level. Let's say you are invited to do something, and it doesn't have to be a major event, it doesn't have to be a wedding. It could be you're invited to go to someone's house and you accept that you're going to go, and then something comes up and you decide you're not able to go. So you pick up the phone or you send a message, you text, you email because you don't want to deal with it, and you start going into all the reasons why you cannot attend this event. Well, what's happening? On the other end, the person who's hosting the event is now getting your message and they're looking at it and go, oh, let's see. So you're tired, your kid's home from school, all these things. So all those things are more important than you spending time or showing up at this event. That's how we look at it. So when you start over explaining, people are analyzing the explanation and they're rating it. So it's the same thing in business, whether we're aware of it or not. It could be subconscious. So you go to market with a certain pricing strategy, and someone comes to you and says, I'd like to work with you, but I'm not able to pay X. And they start going into explanations, money's tight, this year's been awkward. I've heard all of it. And I'm sure if business owners, you hear it as well. And while those things are true, they could be true, and there's no judgment about it, does that mean that you should drop your pricing? I can't answer that for you. I recently said to someone, are you in business or do you have a hobby? And that stopped them in their tracks. Because if you have a business, one would likely have business expenses. And if you have business expenses, how are you planning on covering them? Are you going to go into your personal bank accounts? Are you going to be selling off stocks and things that you have to cover this? Because the more times you drop your pricing, you start over explaining, the less money that you're making. Now, I've also shared this before. I personally am not someone who's tied to the metric of money. I'm tied to the metric of mission. My mission is to deliver world-class education. That's why I'm here. And it's also to help bring people to awareness of what it is they are giving away. And not only is it about products and services, many times it's about our own self-esteem. It's about our belief in ourself. If you've created something you really believe is a game changer and you've done your research and you've put it out to the market, you will get signals if people are interested in buying it. And if you price yourself as the lowest one in the market, then you have to sell volume. That's what it comes down to. I gave you the example of the woman charging $25,000 an hour. She only needed one person to sign up for proof of concept. And so she wanted to make $100,000 a year. So she needed 4 people and she got 6 people. So she outperformed what it was she expected to do. But in her mind, that is what she told herself was the baseline was 4 people in a year. She didn't say, well, if I get 3 people, I'm going to drop the price. If I don't get 4 people, I'm going to go out of business. In her mind, she was getting 4 people. Now, how does that work? Many people have come to me and said, how do you host so many TV shows? How do you produce so many TV shows? How do you work out for 2 hours at least every day? How have you written 28 books? How are you doing keynote speeches? Because I prioritize my time. And that's where we get lost. Your time has value. If you're not in business and you're doing something else, you may not be aware of how valuable your time is. Maybe it's with your family, maybe it's with your friends, maybe it's with your community. And you listen to a lot of stories about people telling you what they're going through. And sometimes you feel upset about it because you really don't want to listen to people's problems. But you don't draw a line in the sand. You don't have a boundary. So by the end of the day, when you say to yourself, what did I accomplish? Well, I watched 4 hours of television and I listened to Susie on the phone for an hour. And then I went and met Bob and he just complained about his life. And you feel like you haven't accomplished anything. So you've been giving away your value. And again, there's no judgment on that. It's just awareness. Where is it in your life that you are giving your time away and not getting value for it? That's for you to answer. So in this book, this is really written from a business perspective to talk about boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. And the last part I really want to talk about is the business of respect. And this transcends business. It's about human nature. If you are being disrespected in your life, what is your role in that? So if your partner talks to you a certain way, if your family members talk to you a certain way, if you're talking to people a certain way, what does that say? There's a breakdown somewhere. And so to be able to sit across the table or next to someone and have a conversation where they believe A and you believe B, that's very mature. That is maturity. That is being a true and compassionate human, in my opinion. But when we are in a disagreement with someone because we believe A and they believe B, and they start screaming like a maniac, and you sit there and take it, what does that say about you? We can't say anything about the other person because that's the journey that they're on. But if you are allowing disrespect in your life at a personal level, I guarantee you it's showing up in your business life. It's because it's what you become accustomed to. Now, am I suggesting that you take some kind of radical action? No, just be aware. Be aware of situations in your life where inside you feel uncomfortable. Your intuition is telling you, why am I sitting here and putting up with this? Why is it that every time he comes home, she comes home, they bring their work with them and they take it out on me and I'm still sitting here taking it? I don't have the answer for that. But I want you to be aware of it because if you're giving away your value and you're giving away your time in your personal life, it will manifest itself in your business life. And what's even more important than both of those is how it impacts your health. You take it and you take it and you take it. And one day you don't feel well. And you have no idea why, because you're eating right, you're sleeping, you're drinking water, because you've been living in situations where you've been disrespected. And that's a big one for me. I do not put up with being disrespected. People will try to work me. Do you ever have somebody like you've already set your boundary and they try to work you and work you and work you? And I don't get upset about it anymore because I am very conscious of what my boundaries are. And it took me a long time, decades to get here. So I'm here today to help you. And the most important thing is the awareness. If it comes down to your business and you are looking at what are my products and what are my services, do some market research. Understand the whole thought process of willingness to pay. We can think of companies that have very exclusive offerings and people are buying them. And then we can think of companies that their whole go to market is get it for $9.99 and we'll throw in 2 Ginsu knives. And it's just about volume. So you have to figure out, are you on one extreme or the other? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Are you packaging your product or service with outstanding customer service, outstanding follow-up? That means a lot. In an age where we are seeing artificial intelligence taking over in so many ways, especially in the customer service sector. If you've ever made a phone call to an 800 number and a bot answers, an AI bot, you know it. And if you're like me, you're pushing 000 agent, 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 and you're not getting an agent because they let so many people go that the bots are supposed to cover a certain amount of the calls that come in. So you have to say to yourself, is that what I'm going to do? Or am I actually going to have live people answering the phones? That's part of your value. So you have to think about that. So again, in this book, Stop Giving Away Your Value, I'm going to read just from one section in the very beginning because I think this is really relevant. Okay, this is chapter 11. You can see it here. Authority without aggression. I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs. Authority is often misunderstood as intensity. It is associated with strong personalities, decisive language, and firm stances. And in some environments, it is confused with dominance or control. Think about that. He's so aggressive. She's so aggressive. As a result, many professionals hesitate to fully occupy authority, concerned that doing so will make them appear abrasive, inflexible, or difficult to work with. This hesitation creates a false distinction between authority and aggression. So, meaning, I understand this. I wrote this book. I know what's in here. I know the research that I did. I incorporated some of my learnings from Wharton, Chief Strategy Officer, in here. So I understand what I wrote. And for you, in whatever it is that you're in, are you coming from a place of authority where you've done the work, you've done the research, you've been living and breathing this business day in and day out? You finally hired people or you sub things out, but you know every aspect of your business. You understand willingness to pay. That's authority. Aggression is different. Aggression could be conceived as behavior that is not backed up by anything in reality. There's no rational explanation for this behavior. And it also is associated with fear, with anxiety, negative emotions. So when we are running a business, we want to come from a place of authority and we want to treat people with respect. And even if someone doesn't treat us with respect, we have an option. We can be aggressive. You know what? I'm not standing for that. You know what? I'm not going to do business with you. You know what? I'm going to hang up on you right now. That could be aggression. Or we could just take a step back, take a breath, and say, I don't think that this is going to be a partnership that's going to be fulfilling for either of us. So as such, I'm actually going to walk away right now, but thank you for your time. Thank you for calling, and maybe in the future we'll be able to work together. There's a different way to handle it. So in concluding this particular episode of Stop Giving Away Your Value in the Long Game, you see behind me, there is a road portrayed, and the road is not straight. And at the end of the road, there's something waiting for you, something that is highlighted. For me, it was USA Global TV and Radio. I never dreamed that I would own a television network. I was selling loyalty programs for decades. And before that, I sold technology for decades. And so it's interesting because they've both come together, because I have to be an expert when it comes to technology and also to loyalty, because that's important to having a television network. So think about, where are your areas of expertise that actually lend into you being an authority? Where is it that you have gaps, you have holes? If you think about the fact you own a boat, whatever kind of boat it is, I'm not a boating person, but the boat has holes in it, and eventually it's going to sink, and you can try patching up the holes, but you might need a complete and total overhaul. We have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to start with us. If you are the person who founded the business, you're the face of the business, you're the one pulling all the strings behind, you've got a team of people who are supporting you, where is it you are giving away your value? Is it in your pricing? Is it over explaining? Is it under delivering? Is it underperforming? Think about all of these things, because they have a major impact. It's almost like a relationship. If you've ever been in a relationship, you've been with someone for a significant amount of time, and you can fill in the dots as to what that is. And all of a sudden, one of you decides you're leaving. Well, that wasn't all of a sudden. It may come across as all of a sudden, but there was a moment in time when you said to yourself, if you're the one leaving, this isn't working. This doesn't feel right anymore. And so you made a choice. Either you were going to try to work on it, or you were going to exit stage left. But the other person might not have seen the signs because they weren't paying attention. And they may say to you, well, where did this come from? It seems like it's out of the blue, but it wasn't out of the blue. Things were out of sync for probably a long period of time, and people were not seeing the signs. And it's the same thing in business. There start to be little gaps, little holes here and there. That doesn't mean there's not turnover. That doesn't mean that you have a client who's been working with you, you have a customer who's been working with you, and then they leave. No, this is attrition. This happens. There is definitely turnover, but you want to be able to keep the turnover to a minimum while onboarding new customers or new clients. That's really important. And to do so, you must be an authority. And you have to look at, what is it that this person is taking away from this interaction? Am I coming across as desperate? And we've been like that. We've all had a moment in life when we actually probably were desperate. We're willing to take anything. And I'm going to give one more example, and then I will say goodbye for today. I have spent a lot of money over the years on designer clothes. Now, this dress is a consignment dress. I don't buy designer clothes anymore. I don't wear the designer shoes. I have shoes behind me, behind the green screen, that are 7 inches high, 6 inches high, Prada, Gucci, all these things. I don't align with that anymore, but I have the shoes. So I actually will put them on eBay, or I'll put them on Facebook. I gave away a lot of them for free. And I look at it as a way to give back, so that the shoes have another life, that they will be taking someone else's feet on somebody else's journey, and that will bring them joy. But even on Facebook Marketplace, I am very conscientious about how I show up. I answer people's questions. I make sure that I give them different options of how to pay. I ship things to people. I package things myself. I handwrite cards, so that it is a personal experience from me. And that's on Facebook Marketplace. What are the odds that someone who bought one pair of shoes is going to come back and buy something else? I don't know, but they're probably going to write a review. And so those shoes, which took me places in life and are going to take someone else, are leaving me and going somewhere else. And I want that transition of me giving it to someone else, even though they're paying, because why would I give it away for free unless it's a charity or a donation? That it's a seamless experience where someone says, you know what, I bought something from Jacalyn KERBECK and she did a great job, and I'm going to recommend her. So think about that for yourself in every and any way that you're presenting yourself, coming across as the authority. And if you need help, you can get it. There are plenty of people like me out there who are offering private advisory opportunities, a way for people to come in and look at your business, a way for people to come in and understand what is your mindset. You have to be able to trust the person. Do they have your best interests at heart? Are they showing up when you're having your meeting? Are they fully present? Are they looking at their watch? Are they looking around the room? Are they bringing up things that are not relevant to what you're talking about? These are all important things. So as I close out for today, I want to give you a few tips of information. First of all, if you are interested in purchasing my signed copy of my book, I want to just show you where it is. It is here on usaglobaltv.com/book your session. So this is where people come to actually book on shows, and it seemed like a great place to put it. So this is where you can get a signed copy of the book. It's not back ordered now. We have them in stock. So the link is there for you to look at that. If you want to go on to Amazon, or you want to go on to into the bookstores, you'll find it there. Again, it's called Stop Giving Away Your Value. I also have a course, and this course is available on our website as well. I'm going to go back and highlight it. And this is really to teach you and ingrain into you some of the techniques that I am sharing in the book, because what gets repeated gets remembered. So it's an hour and 30 minutes. Our next offering is October the 7th. It's $397. And so it's a masterclass to help you understand how and where you are giving away your value and what you can do to stop it. So there is the link again. I'm going to share it right here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You have value. You have significant value. It doesn't matter what your age is, or where you live, or what your occupation is, or what it used to be. You as a person have value. Find out where in your life you're giving your value away for free and it is unappreciated or it's not reciprocated and it doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good in your body. Thank you again for being here. If you'd like to learn more about me, my information is here in the show notes. And if you'd like to contact me, you can do so by going to our website, usaglobaltv.com and drjacalyn.com, or you can email me directly at drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com. Again, it's in the show notes. And finally, I would really appreciate it, as would our team, if you can go over to our YouTube channel. Maybe you're watching there now. And if you just click subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio and subscribe to Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, I would really appreciate it. And I know our team would too, because we get real information from YouTube and we use that information to help us decide what our programs are going to be. We like to see where people are watching from across the world. We're currently in 60 countries and in 3 languages, German, English, and French. Thank you again for being here. Let's take a look at my movie trailer on Stop Giving Away Your Value, and you'll get some more information here. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you again soon.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no, lowering your price to secure the opportunity, giving more while receiving less. Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Videographer and cinematic production, Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Vargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.